Hey guys, today we're going to talk about why it is so important to keep your documents up to date. Welcome to 2 Minute Tuesday, where I attempt to discuss an estate planning topic in 2 minutes or less. Now, today we're going to talk about why it's so important to keep your documents up to date. With everything that is happening right now, we are specifically talking about your documents such as your power of attorney, your healthcare power of attorney, advanced directive, living will, and your HIPAA authorizations. Now, I know last week we put out a video, and actually I think we put out a video much similar to that the week before or the week before that, regarding your healthcare documents. And guys, the reason we're doing it is because we are getting a ton of phone calls into the firm asking us what people need to do about their healthcare documents and their power of attorneys, and really just their estate plan in general. And it's the same advice that I've always given to you guys in all of our videos and on our website and all of our emails, is that you always need to make sure that your estate plan is up to date. And now more than ever, it is very important that you make certain that your healthcare documents and your durable power of attorney are up to date. Now, let me give you some reasons why that is so important. First, I've told you in other videos that we've had people come in with healthcare documents, or really just their entire estate plan, that is over 30 years old. And you know what, guys? That's fantastic that they actually did an estate plan. But the trouble is, if you have not updated it in 30 years, there's probably a lot of things in there that you don't want anymore, or that probably don't even apply. A couple of examples are the people that you have designated to make healthcare decisions for you. If it was 30 years ago, the possibility exists that they may have either moved away, you're no longer friends with that person, maybe they're divorced and no longer part of the family, and maybe they've even passed away. And that actually, the last one actually happens more often than not, especially when your documents are over 20, 30 years old. So it's vitally important that you look at your documents right now that you have and make sure that the designations, that the people that you have put in charge of you and your finances and your life are still alive, first. And second, they are willing to continue to be your representative and your designee if it becomes important to do so. So that is why it's so important to make sure that these documents are up to date, because if you have somebody that's no longer around or no longer available to act, especially right now, you know, we used to say, and we still do, that it's okay to have a designee in another city or another town or another state. But with everybody on lockdown now, if you've designated somebody in, let's say, in California or New York or anywhere in the country, they can't get to you right now. It's almost impossible to get to you. So it's really important that you have your documents up to date. We actually had a lady come in the other day. Well, she didn't come in. We have not let anybody into our office in over 3 weeks. I think it's coming on 4 weeks now. So nobody has come in. We are open, but we're open virtually. That means that we're doing meetings over Zoom, we're doing conference calls, whatever it is we need to do, but we're not actually meeting face-to-face with anybody, and we haven't for over a month now. But we had somebody come in who had listed her family members here in town, in particular a sister here in town, as her designee for all of her healthcare decisions. Well, that sister has since moved out of town, and so she's not available if something were to happen, to go to the hospital or to speak with the doctors and make healthcare decisions for her. So we talked about, and we kind of figured out who else was in town. Well, it just so happened that she had a brother actually two brothers separately, who have both moved back into Oklahoma City. And so we picked one of those brothers to be her healthcare decision. So she really wanted the sister to be it, but with the way things are right now, she really wanted somebody local to be able to be there and make decisions if they were necessary. Now, once this is all over, then we can go back to the sister. But for right now, in case there was an emergency, we switched everything to the brother. So it's really, really important to make sure, like I said, that your health care and your power of attorney and all those designations are up to date. Now, I did talk to some medical personnel. I went out and made actually 3 phone calls to to 3 separate medical personnel, doctors and nurses, and basically they all said the same thing, that they were not aware of any law that was in effect that, you know, if your healthcare designations or your living will was 30 years old, if you've got one, they're going to honor that document. That's fantastic, right? But again, we have to take into account whether the designations that you have made are actually still accurate. And will they be able to get in touch with a person that you've designated as your healthcare proxy or your financial proxy to make decisions for you? The other thing is you're 30 years older and you may have a different perspective on what you want to happen if you were to become in a persistent vegetative state. So again, you might want to look at your documents to see what you designated. So 30 years ago, you may have said that if you were in a persistent vegetative state, you wanted to make sure that the doctors did everything they could and keep you alive as long as possible for months at a time. And that's okay. That is a decision that a lot of people made. But now with the advances of medical research, we know a lot more. And a lot of times people are saying now, in fact, I would say probably 99% of my clients will say that if they are in a persistent vegetative state, in other words, a physician does not see that there's any way that they're ever going to come out of it. In other words, their brain, they're basically, there's no brain activity. And so if they become in a persistent vegetative state, all they want to receive is pain medication. They don't want to receive food, water. They just want to be able to pass away peacefully. And so that is a big change for somebody that may have had an opposite desire 30 years ago. So make sure your documents are up to date so that even if medical personnel will still honor that 30-year document, are they going to be honoring a decision that you no longer agree with, a decision that you made 30 years ago when you were 30 years younger and had a different perspective on life? So you really, guys, you need to review these documents. And that's really why we made this video today, is because, and I know we've talked about all of this stuff, but like I said, we're getting a lot of calls. We have been really busy trying to update people's plans because a lot of them do need to be updated. So I urge you, please go back and look at your plan and make sure it's up to date. Now, on the financial side, I have talked to bankers who say, you know, if you have a financial power of attorney and it's older than a few years, they kind of get, they're not very comfortable with it. And I have heard stories of banks not honoring power of attorneys that are, you know, older than 3 or 5 years. So again, please make sure that these documents are up to date and they say what you want them to say. Well, that's all for today. If you've got value, then can you please do me a huge favor and hit the like button? And if this is your first time here, then please hit the subscribe button so you'll get updates every time we post a new video. And I will tell you, we're trying to do our live show on Saturday, and we've gotten several phone calls in on people asking questions who want to appear on the show or want their question to appear on the show. So if you've got a question that you'd like me to ask on our next live show on Saturday at 10 a.m., give us a call at 405-561-2737. That's a voicemail phone number. So you can only leave a voicemail for us there, and it's only for our Saturday show. So if you've got a question, give us a call, 405-561-2737. Guys, that's all for today. Have a great day. And as always, have an awesome week. We'll see you next time.